cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I believe we're at 2041. Is this correct? Do we have someone who can answer that? We will in just a moment. The name of the show is called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Yeah, 2041. That's awesome. That's a lot, my friend. That's a lot of shows. 2041. Heaven knows how many more of these shows I've got left in me. Probably a lot.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We'll just keep on doing it. Doing the show.
Mike's
Yeah.
Daily
Mike Matthews
Podcast
is the host.
Yeah!
On today's show, Roe versus Wade confession. Nearly $1 million found somewhere. The lawsuit will proceed. Won't unveil a portrait. Calls Jordan a snitch. And premieres June 19th. Plus the Webby Award winners. All on today's show. Maybe one of those. Let's see. Roe versus Wade confession. Yes, you knew all about that. Norma McCorvey. She says that the anti-abortion groups paid her. The $1 million found. A Virginia family, they were out for a ride. They found nearly $1 million right on the road there as they were driving last Saturday, apparently. In Caroline County? Is that where it happened? Okay. And other news stories. Oh, what's the portrait one? Trump has snubbed the Obama portrait. Obama reportedly has no interest in having his White House portrait unveiled while Trump is president. So this is sort of what's happening in the world today. And the Webby Award winners? Who cares? LeBron James, Spotify, HBO among the 2020 Webby Award winners. Webbies.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I think my work here is done today. And there's extinct tiger footage? What's this? Newly discovered footage of the last known Tasmanian tiger released. Aw. Sad. All right, let's see. So the podcast picture today, I'm very excited to tell you about. It is a wondrous picture that I took. When was this picture taken? Oh, wow. Not anytime recently. Basil, you're not in this picture. It was taken... It's not a Basil. It should be, but it's not. It was taken 8 years ago in San Francisco. My microphone's doing odd things, ladies and gentlemen. But I think that's the last time it'll do that weird thing. This is Adventures in Sound, today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is an oddcast to beat all podcasts. But yes, 8 years ago, I was in San Francisco walking about. And they've got these hearts around San Francisco because of the Tony Bennett song, I Lost My Heart in San Francisco. And this little interesting heart had all the cool houses that San Francisco is known for in the picture. I thought it was really cool. So I took a picture of this. Now, what's interesting is these hearts get painted over. So that heart doesn't exist anymore. That 8 years ago heart is now been painted over, and whatever that cool painting that you see there is gone, lost to history, but caught by yours truly, Mike Matthews. And you can see it now at mikesdailypodcast.com on our podcast with odd microphone effects happening right now. All right. Okay, what else is going on today? You came into my life without a bed, you you got me singing the blues. I so love doing podcasts when I'm awake. Oh, speaking of being asleep, it's tough when you're your own, person, DJ, producer person, and you're trying to do the show at the same time. Yeah, most people got like a what do you call it? A producer person taking care of things. Without you, you got me singing the blues. Okay. That actually is the title of about a billion different songs, singing the blues. But we like to sing blues, don't we? I think I like the way this microphone sounds now. I've actually switched 8 or 9 microphones since we've begun the show today. I've gone through a microphone potpourri, a microphone buffet, as it were. And I think I'm going to settle on this one. Coronavirus could bring down the curtain on Shakespeare's legendary Globe Theatre. No more Shakespeare at the Globe Theatre. Whatever shall we do? So speaking of dreams, I had a dream last night. Very odd dream. And I don't usually remember dreams, but I dreamt that I was hanging out with Gary Newman. Who's Gary Newman? Here in my car, I feel safest of all. Gonna drive to a Pier 1 and buy a wicker couch in cars. Dun, 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 dun. Why is that funny? Because Pier 1 is closing. But right now they are closed because of the coronavirus. But as soon as they open, they're going to do a bunch of going out of business sales. And that's when I'm going to get that wicker couch, y'all. I'm going to get about 10 of them. And I'm giving them to everybody I know. Because I love wicker couches and those big wicker things. And wicker just gets so dusty. And you can't dust it because it's got all those little crevices. And the dust doesn't, it's not like a smooth surface that you can easily dust it and it's gone and now you're back to a smooth surface. Wicker is just this weird, dusty, plant-based crap. I hate wicker. Now, I hear the Wicker Man, not the one with Nicolas Cage, but the old one that was done in England. And there's like some bizarre, British movie type stuff in it. It was, I think, filmed on the Isle of Man in like the late 60s or so, early 70s. And in the 70s, you started to see a lot. In late 60s, you saw, and this is odd because when you're my age and you're thinking about your parents, and you're like, there were some kinky movies that our parents, when our parents were young, that came out. Wicker Man is kind of like that, just so as you know. So Gary Newman and I are hanging out. I think we're like, I forgot where we were going. We're going to some event. And people are recognizing him and they want their picture taken with them. And his hair, I think he's a little bit older than me. And he's got his hair all dyed black. He's British. And apparently he's a very good pilot. That's what I've heard too. Take me to the pilot. Da, 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 da. A lot of singing in today's show. It's almost like a musical. And we were talking about musical TV comedies last podcast. So you should listen to that one because it was very informative. So Gary Newman and I are hanging out. We're getting something to eat. I think we got an ice cream or a yogurt. And people recognize him everywhere we go. And I'm like, Gary, you know what? Everybody knows who you are. I want to get a picture with you. And he's like, all right. So I'm trying to get my picture taken with them. I'm giving my camera phone to someone to take a picture. And then I wake up. How frustrating is that? I didn't even get a picture with Gary Newman. Yeah. Here's something that not everyone wants to do, and that's PAN. PAN, PAN means payment adjustment N. What's the N stand for? Something. At any rate, you might work for a company that's had to give everyone pay cuts, and so I had to sign a PAN. Somehow that works out to the agreement that I am no longer getting paid what I used to get paid. So I had to sign one of those. Not the most, that was not a fun experience. You know what was the worst experience? The guy from corporate who had to call everybody up and make sure that they signed it today, because today was the last day to get it signed. That's not a fun job. But this is the sign of the times. This is what's happening. Here's a thing that I heard today about eating in restaurants. They did a little test to see if we're going to be able to do it in the post-COVID-19 world. And here's the thing, is that they tried some ventilation tests, doing little experiments. I don't know how exactly they did this, but somehow it ended up that with the windows shut, with the ventilation off, with the ventilation on, in any situation, everybody gets infected. So that's not good. Which makes me think, I don't think I'm ever going to eat inside again as far as restaurants go. I'm always going to eat outside, which is fine with me. I love eating outside. I love the patios. I love being outside and watching the people walk by, watching the coronaviruses float by. I love that. This is so wonderful, the prospects and the 20% capacity that we're hoping, or what we tell restaurateurs what they have to do. Hey, did you know? So here we are. I'm working from home. Maybe you're working from home. Maybe you're a programmer and you already know this. Programmers have been doing this forever, working from home. The problem is that you have no. It's very difficult for people to set the time and set the plate. Like when you go to the office, you know, I'm at the office now. I am working. I work from 9 to 5 or whatever the designated time. Then I go home and I leave in the office. Well, we don't have that nowadays. People working from home, they can't leave it in the office because the office is home. Why a lot of people are saying you have to try and make your workspace an office that is then off limits, that you push off to the side, that is then, you know, shut down, and then you go and live your life. The office is over here, your life is over there, and you separate the two. So that's something people are trying to do at this point. But people complaining, working from home, that they're feeling isolation, disconnected, they're worried that their job might disappear, and we're actually working more as we're working from home, which is kind of sad. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fun podcast, but here's something to uplift you: the power of gratitude. Harvard Medicine defines gratitude as, quote, a thankful appreciation for what an individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. For years, doctors and scientists have been studying how this affects us mentally and physically. It may not be a miracle drug, but they all agree that it does wonders for our health. It has been linked to lower blood pressure, better sleep, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and a greater sense of overall happiness. From a well-documented study, here are some examples. One study showed stress hormones like cortisol are 23% lower in grateful people. Grateful. A study of stressed out law students who classified themselves as optimistic had more disease-fighting cells in their body. More disease-fighting cells if they're optimistic. A study at UC San Diego, beautiful place in La Jolla, lots of eucalyptus trees, amazing views of the ocean, interesting architecture, lots of cement, and some modern art. Lots of modern art that, in fact, I had to study when I was at UC Santa Barbara. They said, go to UC San Diego to see the modern art there. It's amazing. My modern art class said. A study at UC San Diego studied men and women with varying levels of heart disease. Some patients were asked to write down 3 things for which they were thankful a few times a week. After 8 weeks, those who practiced gratitude experienced reductions in inflammatory biomarkers and reduced cardiac risk. Adults seeking mental health counseling for anxiety and depression were asked to write a thank you letter every week for 3 weeks. These adults experienced significant better mental health than those who didn't write letters up to 12 weeks later. Gratitude has a positive effect on the hypothalamus, the region of the brain that controls essential bodily functions necessary for good health, such as eating, sleeping, stress regulation, and metabolic rate. Researchers have also discovered that gratitude activates the part of the brain responsible for releasing feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. This triggered response has the same effect as Prozac. Thinking about things for which we're grateful for triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for calming us down and producing a relaxed feeling in the mind and body. Look who's out here at Cafe Anyway, who's experiencing all of this right now.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Oh my God, I don't have any Prozac at the gift shop. At Cafe Anyway, at the gift shop. Because I'm the gift shop supervisor, Mike Matthews. Say something, Mike Matthews.
Do we have any masks left? And are you selling them for exorbitant rates?
No, Mike Matthews, I'm not selling them for exorbitant rates. They're free, Mike Matthews.
Very good. So me guilting you worked, did it?
Yes, Mike Matthews. And also, I'm feeling a lot of gratitude. And I'm grateful for people, Mike Matthews.
Excellent. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I don't think you picked the right microphone for today's show. Mm-hmm. All right, maybe we'll work on that when the show's over. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Tell me what you think about all the things we discussed today. You can call me at 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast has been now for pretty much a long time. You can also find me at radio.com. Just do a search at my name, Mike Matthews with 2 T's. And hopefully, don't go to Michael Matthews, though. That guy is a big, muscle-bound, steroid-taking dude. That's what I'm saying, just so that, because I'm jealous he's got a lot of listeners. Just saying that. He probably just does it the healthy way. Maybe I should listen to his podcast more, and I'd come up with tips that would help me look like a muscle-bound. Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. More details now with the A-frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at Mike'sDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!